We will get right into it, and I want to give my fantastic panelists first a chance to introduce themselves. As noted, I'm Elise Susie Watts. I'm the Executive Director of Global Digital Finance. We're a nonprofit industry association, and we're delighted to be a knowledge partner with GFTN, who have truly done such an excellent job at curating this week for us here. I'd like to now turn to you to introduce yourself as well, Ram.
Yeah, thanks, Alice. Ram Iyer, I'm the founder and CEO of Vienna. We focus on arranging liquidity on the trade side for corporates all around the world, but especially focused around India.
Please, go ahead, Naveen.
Good morning, everyone. Wonderful to be here in Japan. I'm Naveen Malila. I lead Connexus, which was earlier Onyx, everything tokenization across JP Morgan Chase. Thank you.
Good morning. Yeah, hi, I'm Kirit Bhatia. I'm the VP of Business Development at Ripple. I have the pleasure of leading all our efforts around building use cases on the ledger, focusing on tokenization over the last 12 to 18 months.
Hi everyone, my name is Alan. From the MES. I look after digital assets and AI.
Fantastic. And as noted, at this session on scaling tokenized markets, we'll be talking about how this technology is working across different asset classes and what we truly need to drive liquidity and have it grow and scale. Now, when I was talking to the panelists beforehand, they were joking that maybe we shouldn't start with regulation. However, its ecosystem, I know you touched on it a bit, but also, as I think many in the room, and I know most of you would come from a TradFi background as well, or still in it, in fact, how do we kind of fit tokenization in with the existing traditional rails?
Well, I don't have the answer.
Panel over.
Look, I think the fundamental question for us is that, the promise of tokenization, and we, I think, give a very, good definition of what really, at the end of the day, tokens mean. But, the fundamental thing is of atomic settlement. And if you can kind of get the payment in along with the asset, then I think it kind of really proves the promise of tokens. And I think we are waiting for figuring out which payment method is going to get acceptable to regulators across the world. In India, for example, we have seen a strong push towards CBDC rather than for stablecoins or for deemed deposit tokens. So we are also part of the panels there. Within India, we have a separate economic zone called Gift City, which is kind of pushing down the direction of looking at DDT, and then we are trying to edge them towards there because we think. No offense scale, but we do think that deposit tokens probably represent a much faster way of getting payments in with the help of regulators.
Tables, one I moderate, love to have a devil's advocate moment because we're always talking about everything that can go right, amazing use cases, and I think we all wouldn't be in this room if we don't believe in the kind of promise and future of tokenization and digital assets. However, I want to talk about what some of the pain points are, what are the challenges, how are we seeing some of these restrictions to scaling, and I want to come back to Naveen and hear from you on this first.
So, what Ram had said earlier, I don't think that there would be one winner, first and foremost, right? If you think about money today, you have central bank money, you have commercial bank money, you have e-money. I think the world of tomorrow will have stable coins, will have tokenized deposits, will have central bank digital currencies all existing and serving respective use cases. So I don't think it's about winner takes all. And genuinely, I think we as financial institutions have a lot to learn, and we've learned a lot from all of the innovation happening in crypto and all of the advancements which are being made by stablecoins. From our standpoint, our very firm view is like, if you look at money today, if you look at money supply today, if you look at central bank money, commercial bank money forms the bulk of money because of the simple fact about fractional banking, about credit creation. We don't think that is going to change in the world of digital currencies tomorrow. So deposit tokens and commercial banks, we do think have a critical role to play. But the pain points are, and again, it comes up whenever you talk to industry, right? Like the pain points is that you will have an extended phase of coexistence. You will have an extended transition phase before you can get the end state world of shared programmable multi-asset ledgers. And how you navigate through this interim transition state is going to be critical. So the pain point is interoperability. The pain point is how do you prevent fragmentation of liquidity where all of this infrastructure requires separate pools of liquidity and you actually make the problem worse than what it is today. So how do you navigate through that? That is critical, and the onus is on a few large financial institutions to take that leap to start working through the interoperability considerations, because you can't reach the end state without getting through the transition stage.
And I think towards public chains in the future and see the potential in them. So Kira, I wanted to ask you about this as well, because building on another pain point, the public-private chain debate is something that comes up a lot. There was a lot of regulatory uncertainty and nervousness as well around public chains at one point, but we do see many traditional institutions as well as digital natives using public chains now as well. So wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, so no surprise, Ripple is we're big proponents of public chains. We believe they will and are on the path to becoming important rails, not the only rails, just important rails for financial markets and capital markets to operate on in a kind of regulated, permissioned way. I think about, Ripple ourselves built the cross-border payments use case on a public ledger, which is, from zero to in the last 3 or 4 years has transacted $70 billion in 90 plus markets, all within highly regulated jurisdictions. Like we ourselves are licensed in, from LATAM to US to Singapore to Dubai to London, etc. Right. So I guess that number one is, we've always been proponents that you can run regulated financial services on public blockchains. Last year, from our perspective and from what we saw, was a little bit of a breakthrough year for bigger financial institutions coming on public blockchains. So we had BlackRock issue assets on, tokenized assets on public blockchains. We had Franklin Templeton. We had at the smaller scales companies like Archax in the UK that were issuing money market funds from Aberdeen and Lloyds and State Street, and you have super innovative firms like Control that are tokenizing bank reg cap on chain, on public blockchains, right? So I think last year was a little bit of a breakthrough moment, and to actually hear Naveen's, I spent 12 years at JP Morgan, Naveen to kind of acknowledge that there's a future in which they will operate on public blockchains is for me a super breakthrough moment. And our client base, from the ones I can talk about, names like SocGen Forge launching stablecoins on public ledgers, or Braza in Brazil launching a Brazilian stablecoin, those are real validation points of, hey, look, you can be a highly regulated bank, financial institutions, and operate on public blockchains.
The transmission technology, encoding technology, or receiving side of a technology, decoding technology, because it's a standard. So see, it's a cost base, right? YouTube, Netflix, they're all kind of doing whatever is the infrastructure, is a design standardized. So this is very important. So we are now working on a kind of a personal AI. What kind of a standard technology to be applied here. And now they are connected to the internet, but your computers are not working together. So yet, but if that kind of things started to work. But anyway, so micromanagement with assuming that everything is connected, there's going to be a lot of room to work for the future of the infrastructure. So the committee, Japan is starting now, just launched the sixth one last month, and then once it's 11 completed, then always the GPS alternative is sitting in the above, exactly above of Japan and the other Asian countries to cover. So now this is inside the building, in the street, the tall building, between the tall building, it's been very hard to capture 4 satellites together, but now it's going to be available. So including the terrestrial infrastructure for the TNT and the new spectrum allocation, local. So very much, many researchers are working toward your phone has the AI chip in it, and then so AI, personal AI type of a thing. the wallet and the encryption IDs going to be provided with a personal one, and then some of the quick learning processing could be done in many places. So personal devices as well as the infrastructure wise, it's a very much rapidly, I believe, it's changing. So from the very much large scale computing to the more personal scale computing into, of course, personal data, medical data, and the other thing is the private data. And then open data is basically the other transparent representation of how your tax is going to be used. Then those data is going to be used properly in a secure manner. So secure sharing is a really important thing. And the secure use for the anything, researches, the projection and the learning, and especially for the AI, it's going to be a really important thing for the thing. So these are the very much